Hello and welcome to another Use What You've Got challenge video. Now today's is going to be a little bit different and I'll explain that later. I've just been taking down a brick fireplace and yesterday I started with a hammer and chisel. Today my new toy came, this Titan SDS drill, and my goodness me, it goes through brickwork like butter. Fantastic thing. Anyway, that's by the by. Excuse that. Right. Anyway, now then, Ben Crow has announced the Great Guitar Build-Off Challenge for 2021. And I'm looking forward to taking part in that. Now, he's set out some rules, and I can understand some of these rules, but they're causing me a little bit of concern, I'll be honest with you. The first one is he only wants us to put out 6 videos. Now, my feeling on this is that the whole point of the competition is really to encourage people to get into guitar building, and I think it's really important to show all aspects of that. I mean, I'm not a professional guitar builder, so I'm having to learn as I go along, and I think the fact that I'm learning perhaps helps you guys as well. Perhaps understand how not to do things in some cases. So that's a bit awkward for me. I mean, I'm up to about video number 11 with the Use What You've Got challenge. I don't know. The other thing is that the final video should just be 15 minutes and a summary of the whole lot. And that's where this video comes in, because I'm attempting to cram all 11 episodes that I've made of this Use What You've Got challenge into, well, I've tried to get it to 15 minutes and I can't. I'm about 17 minutes so far, but I'm trying to get that as brief as I possibly can without losing the whole gist of the challenge, if you like, and the whole guitar building thing. I actually think a 15-minute video is too short, but I understand why they're doing it. So this video is really a recap of the Use What You've Got challenge up to part 11, where I actually got the strings on. Oops, shouldn't have given that away. I apologise for all the people who've watched all my videos. This is a bit like a greatest hits album, but anybody who hasn't, please sit back and enjoy. I've got a decision to make. You see, I'd set myself a challenge to build a limited set of 5 of my travel guitars. But then last night I watched a video from Chris at King Bespoke Creations, and he put forward a challenge. Along with Chris Franklin and Steve Walker, they're building guitars out of pieces of wood that they found lying around. And well, that got me thinking, because I've got a stack of these offcuts of feather edge from a fence that I put up. Now then, the thought occurred to me that if Ben Crow from Crimson Guitars can turn a guitar into a fence, can I turn a fence into a guitar? So let's get going. Now then, my idea is to recreate this guitar using this feather edge. Now this guitar was actually inspired by a piece of beech that I bought, which was very wide and very bowed, and I thought, well, because it's bowed, it would lend itself to make the body of a hollow guitar. I'm going to trace round it and make myself a template to work from. I've got my neck pocket routing template here that I use for the travel guitars, and I'm going to use the same technique here. So I'm going to attempt to bolt this neck on with a roof bolt, and these I'm going to use to make the top and the bottom of the guitar. These are wedge shape and I need them flat, so I'm going to have to run them through the thickness. Do you know what? Sometimes machines aren't the ideal tool. This has got completely clogged up my homemade cyclone with all the cut-ins from those feather edge boards, so planing these down is probably not going to be the right answer, but I wonder if I could bandsaw them down. Now there's a thought. There's something blindingly obvious, and that is these are all tapered, but if you put two together they're no longer tapered. So why am I bothering to try and flatten these all off when all I need to do is stick two together? Let's go. Anyway, ooh, is that gonna... Okay. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bit more glue on that and then leave that to cure a bit longer there. I think I'm going to have a go at the neck. Now I've got this piece of Arris rail, which in itself is not a very attractive piece of wood. I thought I might slice this into three and put some of this feather edge in, basically to sort of bring the changes a bit and give it a bit of strength. I've got glue oozing out of all those joints, so I'm going to set it aside and leave it overnight to dry. And now I want to concentrate on what's going to hold the top and the bottom together with the hollow bit in the middle, and for that I need more of this feather edge. My plan is quite simple, and that is to glue together a whole wodge of these feather edge pieces that will extend the whole length of the guitar. I've got this big chunk of feather edge which I'm going to hopefully turn into a fretboard, and I've also found these pieces of silver birch. I think I can make a headstock out of these, so that's what I'm going to attempt to do. A nice wobbly grain in there. Very nice. I'm going to trim this neck down to 30mm deep. Now then, this has come out reasonably well. I've got a nice flat top there and a reasonably flat bottom. There's a bit of tear out just there, but obviously I'm going to be shaping this. I've got 6 in a row machine heads, so I'm going to use this old guitar neck as my template to cut out the veneer and the headstock. What I need to do is cut this down to size. I've cut my 2 slabs, and I've also cut some extra pieces just to block in the end there, because I'm just a little bit short on both sides. So set, and then I'll do the other one. Bit of paper as usual, but yeah, we've got something there. I'm going to fit this headstock. I apologise, I did the old trick there of getting the camera, switching the camera off when I thought it was on and on when I thought it was off. I have to stop doing this. Right, so you missed me sawing it. Anyway, here we have it. So I'm just going to smooth this off now with this plane. Okay, so that's the headstock all glued up. Okay, that's pretty level now. So now I'm going to shape the neck according to the template that I've got here. After you shape the headstock, now I'm going to stick this veneer on. I'm going to stick it with the smooth side down. I'm going to leave that bit of bark on the end there, oozing out all over that. That's a good sign. Okay, so that took a few more clamps than I thought. I'm just going to use this as a bridge. Now then, how about this for a tailpiece? Here we go. Let's try this one. Ooh. Oh, I think we've done it. Well, after all that, and I've drawn blood in the process, I've actually managed to drill 6 holes through that hinge, just about in the right places, and so that will fit nicely there. That can just bend over and just attach to the back of the guitar, or the end of the guitar. That will be the bridge, and I think we're sorted. But, yeah, love that piece of wood on the top there. Brilliant. Okay, now to look at the fretboard. This fretboard looks pretty good on both sides, but I'm actually tempted to go here because the colours are a little bit richer. A lot better because the theme is sort of a garden fence, and you very often get ivy growing up a garden fence. I think ivy is probably the inlay to do. I've levelled that edge and I've levelled that edge. Now I'm going to just push those together, and I want to mark out the shape of the body. I have to make that a little bit smaller at the front. Now what I'm going to have to do, I want to create an inner skin, if you like. So the idea is I follow it round with a pencil, and the Sharpie marks on the inside. Let's go for it. There we have it, something to work to. Whew, that's a first. Never cut anything quite like that before. I think I need to tackle the top. After all that, these are the tools I used. The Shinto rasp saw, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Spoke shave, again, absolutely brilliant job. And some 60 grit sandpaper on a piece of waste pipe, another brilliant tool. And then I finished off with 80 grit on the orbital sander, and then finally 120 grit. I was going to use this old acoustic bridge on this guitar, but yesterday we went for a walk, and spotted this. And given that the theme, well, we're in the middle of autumn at the moment, or fall, and the sort of theme of the decoration looks like to be autumn leaves, I'm thinking, what about a bridge made in that shape? The first thing I want to tackle is strengthening the body of the guitar, especially for the neck and the bridge. So my idea is to run this piece of hardwood, I think it's cherry that I found from an old sideboard, through the whole of the body. Apologise again for the background noise, we've got builders in, so yeah, you're going to hear them drilling. I'm not too worried about the clamp marking the top of this, because I'm going to be shaving this down a little bit. Okay, I'm going to put that to one side now. Right, now the neck troubles me slightly. I don't really want to put a truss rod in it. So what I think I might do, rather than putting a metal truss rod in, I might put a wooden one in. Now then, this is an offcut of maple. And I'm thinking that if I do a channel there, I can just embed some of this in there and it will give it extra strength, and I won't have to worry about the neck bending too much. I did a lot of to-ing and fro-ing about this bridge, and finally decided that what I was going to do was use some of these bolts in these holes as the string guides, but also need to look at the intonation. Now I'm going to put an angle on this, but I do want some movement back and forth. I'm not going to jam it on, slide it that way. There we go. Look at that. Oh yes. And I think that is going to do the job, and I've got some movement then. I can go forward and back, and it's quite tight, so once the strings are on there, that's not going to move. My worry with this is that the wood is quite soft. So what I think I'm going to do is, once I've radiused it, I'm going to coat some of the epoxy 2-part gloss that I've got on top of it, and leave it to harden, just to see if that will make the wood a little bit harder. So now the 3 parts should all come together. It's about in the right position. I've got leeway to shape the body once it's glued in. Side. Anyway, so that's looking really good. That's looking excellent, in fact, from my perspective. And I've got the top ready to stick on, but before I can stick the top on, I've got to cut a sound hole. I know, cutting a hole sounds a bit boring. But I just want to say, with this project, you know, if you're going to push the boat out, you might as well give it an extra shove. And I thought that would be really good to put round the sound hole as sort of perfing. Now then, I've also got these 2 bits of wood here. This is cherry and this is sapele. There we have it. What we can do now is let that dry and see what happens. I want to have a look at this hinge tail piece. I want this screw hole to be where the strap goes. So that sort of is going to be around there. I thought I would undo this. You can see I've added quite a few more clamps on it than I had originally. This should be interesting. I've got to somehow get that off there. Pretty well stuck. Plan B. It should lift off because it's on cardboard. Right. Wow, look at that. Let me introduce you to this. I hope you can see this. This is Carolyn's design for the sound hole. So this is the neck coming into the guitar. This is the sound hole, and you can see we've got this ivy leaf decoration coming in to go across the sound hole. And the idea is that what I'm going to do is mount that in there and then cut it just at the edges there. Okay, now to see if I can fit it. I think I'm going to do it from the other side. See if I can get this in there. I've got to turn it round actually. Right, with the sound hole binding or perfing, I'm not sure what it's called. I mean, please let me know, whatever it should be called. Drying, I'm going to call it a day for this video. Hello there and welcome. Well, I'm building a guitar from leftovers from a friend's for the Use What You've Got Challenge 2020. Well, Dave, what's the matter? How can I edit a video if there's no video on the card? Oh, a couple of days ago I spent a great afternoon working on this guitar, and what I did was I sanded the top down, and so it was level with the circle binding that I put in there. I also did a bit of shaping on this leaf to add some sort of texture to it. I shaped the inside of the sound hole as well to bring it in towards that ring, and I found a fence bracket, this piece here, and bent it and cut it so that I can make a tray to mount the preamp on and the battery that will slide in and out of a hole I cut in the side of the guitar, and that will be covered by this leaf shaped plate which will be screwed on the side there with a jack plug in. I'll pull that out and pull the tray out. Now, it was all really good stuff, except I accidentally deleted all the videos. So I need to just check where my issues are going to be. This top is going to have to be really pulled down. Gonna do much of it. I think that's done it. Well, I'm going to leave this to cure overnight and get on with something else. A guitar body all stuck. Some gaps that may need to be filled, but essentially we have a guitar body. It's now time to get this neck slot cut. I didn't film all that routing. It was a bit of a do and difficult to get a camera angle that would be any good. I use a single bolt to connect the neck to the body. So, but this angled piece here goes into a similar slot on the body. Neck in place. Keep your fingers crossed. Yeah. That's pretty tight. Okay, I think it's time to shape the neck, and I thought actually while I've got it all together, might as well have a look at this as well. This protrusion from the body here. Because there's a few issues here that people have raised in comments and they're very valid. One is I've not put a truss rod in the neck, so what's going to happen when I string it up? Is the whole lot going to go? You just don't know. The other thing is about the bridge. It's worrying folk, and I understand why it's worrying folk. It's worrying me. There's a couple of aspects of that. One is, will the aluminium plate be enough to support that bridge? And the second thing is, will these screw heads work as string guides? And I do understand one of the comments there that you can cause rattle by going through the slots on there, and I need to get round that problem. So what I'm going to do in this episode is I'm going to get to the point where I can string the guitar up. So I'm not going to worry about sanding anymore at the moment, or doing any more of the decoration or inlays or whatever like that. I'm just going to string the whole lot up, and we'll see what happens. I completely understand that if you put a narrow string through a wider slot, you're going to get a buzz. It's going to sound a bit like a sitar. And last night, just before I packed in, I glued a bit of metal into the slot. I've actually drilled a hole into the screw, and I've banged this piece of metal, which I've taken from an old radiator bracket. So I'm just going to cut this and file it down. Let's have a look at it. I've used a couple of bolts just to protect the thread, and what I want to do, I just want to cut that level with the top. Drilled a 2mm hole into the middle, and into that push this slice of metal. Now the idea is then what I will do there, say for the top E string, I'll just cut a very tiny slot in the middle of that central piece of metal. I'm going to need to fit this string restraint that actually came from the same guitar that the machine heads came from. Okay folks, well I've tuned it up, so let's see. Well, I'll be honest with you, it hasn't got the tone of an acoustic. You can certainly hear it. I mean, it's certainly louder than an electric. You get a rather strange effect when you touch the bridge. It's almost like a wah-wah. So that's interesting. You also get quite a nice sound here. Now, I mean, I haven't done any setup on this, and I'm not going to do that until we've done all the decoration and done the varnishing. So it's quite interesting. It'll be interesting to hear what the piezo pickup sounds like underneath the bridge there. But it looks okay. Even with this very quite high action, it's quite nice to play. The neck seems to be okay at the moment. I'm going to leave the strings on, so we'll see over the next few days what happens to the neck. It's looking reasonable at the moment. If anything, there might be a tiny bit of backbone in there. Yes, there is on that side. The bridge seems to be working. I'm getting a bit of a buzz on the B. Very slightly, so I may need to adjust that one there. But these bolt heads with the cross piece seem to be working okay. All exciting stuff. Right then, well, if you're still here, thank you very much for watching. I'd be really interested to know your comments on what you thought of this summary video. Did you think I captured the main points of the build, please let me know in the comments. I look forward to reading those. Anyway, I'll see you soon.